All right, everyone, we're talking up the ACC. We got Ryan Cantor on the line from Shaking the Southland, and we've moved to the running back position. Please check out the quarterback top five that Ryan ran down for us as we looked at the entire quarterback position in the ACC. Running back, again, Clemson with a bit of a stranglehold on the skill positions in the ACC, also looking mighty solid at the running back spot in regards to the elite spot in the conference. Who else could possibly challenge one Travis Etienne?
Yeah, so I've got Travis Etienne at the top of the list. I think that's pretty objective there. He had 24 touchdowns and over 1,600 yards. The guy's just unbelievable combination of acceleration and power. Super fun to watch. Very CJ Spiller-esque. So Clemson fans and really just football fans should enjoy it. It's probably the last year we're going to get him. After that, it actually isn't a huge drop-off. I think A.J. Dillon from Boston College is a great running back. Obviously doesn't have the same weapons around him to take the pressure off of him. I think everyone knows Boston College runs the ball with A.J. Dillon. It's kind of their offense. So it's a little tougher for him there. He had 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns last year. It's going to be a little tougher this year. Boston College has relied on having great linemen, and they lose 3 offensive linemen this year. Anthony Brown's back, and he should be more developed, so that'll help take the pressure off. But they're going to need him to really take a step forward to take enough pressure off. So I think A.J. Dillon's got his work cut out for him, but I think that offense, the way they run it, the way they focus on him, I think he's still clearly the number 2 back. And then 3, and I think this is kind of the tier of the top 3 here. It's Cam Akers from Florida State. He wasn't good last year, but I don't give him too much flack for it as bad as everything kind of fell apart around him. He only had 706 yards, only averaged 4.4 yards per carry, and 6 touchdowns. But he was a 5-star. He looked great as a freshman, and the offensive lineman just got ravaged with injuries, and they were already too thin coming in. So I think the offensive line will take a step. I think he'll take a step. I think quarterback play with James Blackman, or even if it's Alex Hornibrook, as we talked about in the quarterback video, I think that's going to be an upgrade over Francois from last year. So I think everything around him will get better and allow his talent to really shine. He ran for 1,125 yards, 7 touchdowns as a true freshman. That was 5.3 yards per carry. I think he eclipses that this year. So that's the top 3 there.
So as you look down the list, who are some guys that are a little bit lesser known, but based on what we've seen glimpses of may break out this year?
Yeah, so not sure what to expect in Miami. I think the quarterback situation's up in the air. They got a new coach, but running back Travis Homer, who I was very impressed with, is gone, and that leaves DJ Dallas, who got a decent amount of carries, even with Travis Homer there. He had 617 yards, 6 touchdowns, and got a pretty impressive 5.7 yards per carry last year. That was his backup role. Smaller guy who's kind of people think about him blowing up for big runs. He'll get a chance to be as close to an every down back as teams are using these days. And I think he's got the upside to slot in as that number 4 guy. And I think you could easily debate these 2. The next guy I have on the list is Cade Carney from Wake Forest. He had over 1,000 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns, 5.3 yards per carry. And they run a really interesting offense I think folks overlook. I think folks overlook Dave Clawson as an offensive mind. They run a really fun, very, very up-tempo offense. People think of Dino Babers or even like Oregon as the up-tempo offenses, but really Wake Forest is one of the fastest teams in the country. And so Cade Carney will get a lot of carries almost just because they run so many plays. But he is a good running back, and they'll rely on him. So that's the top 5. There's a few guys after that I think are also strong. You could really debate is in that 4 or 5 spot. I think the top 3 are solid, but then the 4 or 5 are a little bit more wishy-washy.
MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, breaking down the ACC with the help of Ryan Cantor from Shaking the Southland, SB Nation's platform for Clemson football. We're looking at the running back position and the top 5 and beyond. Much like the quarterback position, the running back position at Miami puts us in a similar situation in which it's not far-fetched to believe that a Miami back could emerge as a top 5 back statistically. And in regards to talent and ability, one of these guys, if not multiple of these guys, probably are placed in that top 5 category if we're just looking at sheer talent and ability. When you look at a DJ Dallas, who's going to get more carries, you would think, in replacing Travis Homer, who was just shy of 1,000 yards last year. DJ Dallas is a guy that had some fumble issues at times last year, but talk about a guy that just carries guys on his back, has just tremendous ability. It was 2 years ago in the Orange Bowl that I recall with a 14-3 lead. They should have leaned more on him. He was tearing up the Wisconsin defense. They went away from him and went to MarkRogersTV through the air. Wisconsin came back and turned over Rozier a number of times in a comeback win there. Cam Harris didn't see much of the field. He was Cam Davis, or maybe I'm confusing that one way or the other. Cameron Davis Harris was a freshman last year. Didn't see the field much of the first half of the season, but had strong efforts down the stretch against Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech. And he's going to be in the mix to get some running carries. And Lorenzo Lingard was a 5-star, one of the top 2 rated running backs in the nation 2 years ago. He's had some injury issues plague him, but he certainly could be in the mix to get some carries for Miami. Cam Akers is a bit of an interesting case in that he was generally considered the top back in high school football 2 years ago, signs at Florida State, rushes for roughly 1,000 yards his first season, has a drop-off as a sophomore, and many believe, based on Willie Taggart's offense, and especially bringing in Kendall Briles, that it's going to be difficult for really Cam Akers to find his place. He's kind of the guy that you put 7 yards deep in the backfield, and he's got to be the feature back, the guy that has the offense revolve around him rather than space it out, get him out in space, toss him the ball, get the ball to him in a number of ways, and see other players on the field get their distribution of the carries and the throws as well in a very multiple spread out offense that goes high pace, high tempo. He's more of the bell cow, give the guy the ball 25 times. So we'll see if he's able to adapt to what's going to be even more of a high pace, high tempo offense at Florida State with Kendall Briles running the show. Michael Carter, an exciting player at North Carolina, averaged over 7 yards per carry. And the one note I've got on A.J. Dillon is that 2 years ago, he was a freshman, didn't see him the first 5 weeks of the season. And he got a shot. John Hilleman was the starter at that point. He gets a shot, and within 3 weeks, he's a superstar. He's running for 200 yards over and over and over and over. Runs for almost 1,600 yards as a freshman, and was, again, as you mentioned, the focal point of the offense. So it's even more impressive knowing defenses are keying on him. Anthony Brown emerged as a better than capable, competent quarterback, certainly not pinpoint precision, but better quarterback play than they had at Boston College in a few years. And A.J. Dillon, though, unfortunately got nicked up last year, really wasn't himself most of the season, only played 10 games. They missed the bowl game, didn't play the bowl game because of weather issues. So only had 10 games to rush for 1,100 yards. So A.J. Dillon looking for a big capper to his collegiate career. Anybody else on your mind?
Yes, you talked about Michael Carter. He had almost 600 yards last year. He missed the first 3 weeks with an injury, so we'll see. I think he's a high upside guy that could be moving up the list. I have him just barely outside the top 5. Deion Jackson, he'll be splitting carries with Britton Brown at Duke. I think that's a pretty good combo. Jerry Howard was solid at Georgia Tech, but again, just have no clue what to expect out of Georgia Tech, really, as they completely changed their offense. And Mo Neal, they'll need to rely on more of a traditional running game. Last year, that's Mo Neal from Syracuse. Last year, the leading rusher was quarterback Eric Dungy, who's now gone. So opportunity for Mo Neal to really kind of be a mover and shaker and move up this list. They're going to need him to, because they need to keep teams honest, because Tommy DeVito is not a running quarterback. They need to have that threat there to really hold that pocket, especially with a lot of the turnover they have up in Syracuse on the offensive line. After that, I think you're looking at Clemson backups being better than some of the starters at some of these other schools that we haven't mentioned. Davian Feaster's in the transfer portal. Depending on when you're listening to this, we still don't know where he's going. But regardless, Lynn J. Dixon, I think, would still be better than a lot of not a lot. There's only a few other starters we haven't mentioned, but Lynn J. Dixon from Clemson, very, very capable backup, would start at other schools.
Breaking down the running back position in the ACC for 2019 right here at MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. Please leave your comments down in the comments section below. Let us know where we missed it and who we're missing possibly on our top 5 list. Ryan, we appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks for the invite.